Ooh, there's this other bizarre thing we do for kids. It's called butt pumping. Like they pump their.
Okay, we're getting
You
into
have to see your
stuff.
face.
Did my mind go the wrong way again?
I don't think so. Water gun is connected to a straw. There's some herbs, always herbs. I don't know what's up with these people and herbs. And then they pump air and that herb up the kid's butt, open
Okay,
it up.
that's what an enema is, I think.
But they do it a lot for kids.
Why kids?
It helps with constipation. That's the idea you had in your head, right?
I had these two different forks, and I was like, I hope it's this one. And that's the better of the two. Okay.
Adults do it too. They say it helps with constipation. I don't know.
Certain detox programs, they do something like that with putting water
Yeah,
up.
it has to be hot. Doesn't like burn. I see them as risks people take with their bodies because do we really need to do all that?
I'm worried about sharing these opinions sometimes. I personally feel like way too much weight is put on scientific studies. There's so much data that you can't collect. There's so many variables that you can't account for. So just because something works in one situation doesn't mean it's going to work in another.
Yeah.
Even if you say some drug doesn't have side effects, you can't measure that person throughout life and give them they're going to live a different life than somebody else. And so you can't figure out if maybe this is dangerous for this kind of person and not that kind of person. Maybe it's dangerous for people that sleep at a certain time. There's just so many things to consider that I think it's impossible to measure. So they just do the best they can, which is good. I'm cautious about putting anything in my body.
Yes. One thing I learned, I think my parents had that idea and they just put it in my head. The body does a lot of things for itself. It does a lot of self-cleaning, and there are people who their bodies can't do a bunch of things for themselves, which is sad. But naturally, the body self-cleans. Doing a lot of extras to me, but people have their reasons. Oh, I'm pretty sure you've seen videos online of how people bathe their newborn babies' hair. Have you ever seen those?
Fake?
Ba- No, no.
Words of a word.
Bathe. So they do these things where they mold their head.
Okay, this is worse than baking. Wait, what?
They believe that kids are born with soft heads. When you bathe them, you can form the shape of a child's head. Newborn babies, pressing their head, forming it, trying to make it properly rounded. They say they're molding their heads to be a particular shape.
Beautiful shape
It's
or like a good shape for the brain or what?
I don't think it has anything to do with the brain. I think it just has to do with the aesthetic.
Like a nice shape head. Ooh.
A pretty head shape, but I don't think it works. You've never heard of that before?
I mean, I know that the kid's head is softer.
Well, I haven't seen it being done. It doesn't make a lot of sense because these are genetic things. Because of how your parents are, you won't derail from your genes.
If you tell me it works, I have a question mark, but it's not a yes or no. But I have to see it enough to really make a decision. I don't know, maybe it works. But you've seen it more.
Nah, I don't think it does. I don't think it does. There are a lot of other things they do with newborn babies because they feel like that's the point where you can form a child. So they try to make sure a child is extra flexible. So they're bathing them, stretching the joint. You should go check out videos on YouTube.
Hardcore stretching, or is it just
No,
like,
no. Really mild massage.
oh,
The
okay,
really
okay,
mild.
that's good to me.
But the babies cry a lot. Stretch their hands to their back, massage the shoulders to make sure that the joints are moving okay, the elbows, the knees. Although people go the extra mile.
I would use the crying as an indicator, I think.
They cry about everything, so I can't use the crying as an indicator. We have the ones who cry once water touches their body.
I'm open-minded to a lot of this old stuff, but I have to see it sometime.
I only see the ones my mom does. She's mild. I mean, some older ladies come around her and they're like, "You're not doing it right. Bend that muscle. Bend it a little more. A human shouldn't be able to bend that much."
So I feel like a lot of traditions, they probably work if you do them the right way. This gets passed down through so many generations. Maybe like they were doing it right for 100 years, and then after that, something went wrong.
Humans, someone decided to just change something and be like, switch it up a little bit. And different people have different ideas on how things should be done. We have a lot of that here. Ladies after giving birth, having to tie up their stomach with a cloth, hold your tummy in so the baby bump starts going in quickly.
I've never watched the birth. I don't even know. You grew up in the States or Japan too. There's a lot of like real stuff that we're just not exposed to. We don't know where food comes from. It's like my father, when he saw a pig's face for cooking, he was like, I don't want to see something that looks like an animal. It's like, but you're eating an animal. I don't want to know that I'm eating an animal. I just want to eat my meat, right? My meat is not an animal. When I was in China too, I ate like chicken feet or something. Japan is much more sterile. It's much more kind of everything is clean. And people are freaked out by anything that looks like a foot. Frog, a lot of different foods, like people get freaked out about it. It's like kill an animal to eat it. My brother's not like that. He could take a bow and arrow, kill a rabbit, and then skin it and cook it. But he's very,
Yeah.
most people are not like that.
I mean, here we have what we call the point and kill. There's a fish tank, point the fish you want, they pick it out and they kill it right there. Live chicken and bring it to the house. Kill it, skin it, eat it. Buy a goat, do the same thing.
That's life. But I feel like in the suburbs, it's just not real. People just don't know how life works. So, like, I was never exposed to a pregnancy. I mean, I've seen pregnant
Ooh.
women before, but
What
I
happens after? You never
I
really.
know how the baby comes out. I probably saw a
Really?
documentary once, but I turned away. It was
I think that comes from communal living, my brother's wives and all that. But even before then, I had neighbors, so they would give birth, and my mom would have to go over take care of the newborn. So raising a child was not just a one family thing. It takes a village to raise a kid. Even at a very young age, I started babysitting newborns when I was like 6. And I guess that makes us more aware. And these things aren't really foreign anymore.
well, a lot of people in the States and probably in Japan too, at least like in the suburbs, in the city, it's like they don't meet children until they have children or their friends have children. I didn't see kids for a very long time. And now like I have some friends that have kids. So, and I learn every time that I hang out with my friends that have little kids.
Yeah.
So I spent 20 years without any kids around.
That
In
is
some
how it should be, though. That is how it
well,
should be. Sometimes it gets tiring. These aren't my kids, so why do I have to see you so often? Guess I mentioned I have a pretty large family. I'm the last kid. 3 of my siblings have kids. I have like 7 nephews. I can't really avoid seeing kids that much. I can't really avoid their stories and all.
how old were they when they had kids?
In their 30s. We do have people who give birth to kids pretty young. I have a cousin my age, she's about 24. At the time I met her when I was 16, she had about 3 kids. People start having kids pretty early. And her mom had her when she was about 16 as well. So we have the generation that keeps on having young children.